For people who want to get into tech and they
Yes.
don't know which one they're interested in, do you offer
Yeah.
any sort of consultation, or is there room for people to come and they're just like, I just want to get into tech because they say I can make money. I don't know what I want to do. So is there room for such people to come and you help them find a path?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something we do every single week, 52 weeks in the year, in a whole year. So we call it the masterclass and the tech series. So these are free sessions where you can join. We walk you through all the 8 career paths and what they entail. For example, what does a data analyst do? What's the difference between the data analyst and the data scientist? So we walk you through all those nitty gritty. You understand exactly what you're getting into, what the programs are all about, and you can make an informed decision on the career path to choose. And I'll give you a typical example. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who has done supply chain for the most part of his most part of his career.
Mm,
So what we've done is we highlighted his past experience and the career path that aligns with supply chain,
mm,
which includes data analytics, data science, and based on what the two roles entail, he was able to make a decision to go for the data analytics program
wow.
so that he can apply to jobs as a supply chain analyst,
Mhm,
apply to jobs as a demand planner,
mm,
apply to jobs as a cost optimization analyst, and so on
mm,
and so forth. So
wow.
these are the sessions we hold every weekend, Saturdays, and we also hold sessions during the week as well. So one
Mm,
of the ways to be a part of this session is to join the Tenalytics community.
okay.
Okay, so there's a community, a WhatsApp community. You join the community, and we invite you into these sessions where you get to learn about the different roles and you select the ones you're interested in.
Okay, that's amazing. I'll put the information for the WhatsApp and the community in the description box and in the comment section so that anyone that wants to join can get that information from there.
We founded Tenalytics as a platform to help other professionals, people of the Black community, to transition into the tech ecosystem, just like I did. And over
Mhm.
the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,500 people across the globe, from the US to the UK to Canada, across Europe, to also make that transition from the classroom to landing their very first jobs in the tech ecosystem. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK, in the US. I've worked as a data analyst with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub Saharan Africa. And I've
Wow.
also worked with FITC in Nigeria as a data analyst
Mhm.
owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. I currently
Wow.
reside in Alberta, Canada, where we are helping other professionals, people of the Black community, to transition into the tech ecosystem.
So, is it fair to say that tech is one of the industries that's making people rich and wealthy right now in the US, particularly?
Absolutely. And I dare say across the globe. All right. Now, there's been a shift from when you had the energy sector, the oil and gas, and so on and so forth. That was where the focus was, and
Mhm.
also in manufacturing. But today, where you have that type of money, you get that type of money is in the tech ecosystem.
What would you say are the top tech positions that pay well? Because I know there are
Yeah.
several, right?
Yes.
What are the top ones that pay really, really well?
All right. Fantastic. So I'm going to give you eight key career paths that are
Okay.
in high demand. They are easy to learn, they are easy to transition into, and they
Mhm.
have higher rewarding salaries. Number one is a data analytics career path. If you're a data analyst, you would ensure that you get into a career path that is highly progressive. It's in demand today and would keep on being in demand over the next 5 to 10 years. You
Mhm.
have the data scientist role. If you are a data scientist, if you are a data engineer,
Mhm.
if you are a business analyst, so data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, business analyst. Then you have the HR analyst. You have
Okay.
the financial analyst. You have the agile project manager. So not your conventional project managers, but
Mhm.
agile project manager.
Mhm.
And finally, last but not the least, you have the cybersecurity professionals. So these are the career path that are thriving in the US today. If you get into these areas, they're in high demand, you would easily land a job, and
Mm-hmm.
you'd also find yourself in a career path that is future proof when it comes to your relevance
Mm-hmm.
over the next 10 years.
So, as a
Absolutely.
newbie, as someone that's getting into tech, how much should I expect to earn as a base salary? Would you say?
Yeah, so it depends on the specific role you eventually decide to pursue. And
Mm-hmm.
different career paths would command different remuneration
Mm-hmm.
based on the industry, based on the location, and based on the role as well. But I'll just give you a guide on
Okay.
what the industry average, the median salary looks like across certain roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like the data analyst, for example, getting into the space for the very first time, you should be looking at an average of about $70,000 to $85,000 per
Oh,
annum on the
wow.
average.
Wow.
Okay, the financial analyst would pretty much earn a similar salary, around 70K to about $85,000. The
Mm-hmm.
HR analyst would earn a little slightly lower than that, from around $60,000 to about $75,000 per annum. All
Wow.
right. But when you start to get to the more technical roles, like the data scientist, where you have to use Python to
Mm-hmm.
build machine learning models, you start to get into the six-figure range. So as a data scientist, you'll be looking at something around 100K to $120,000.
Mm-hmm.
For the data engineer, you're also looking at significantly high salaries, especially within the six figures, because the data engineering role is also a technical role where your role involves building. You build the infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
where data passes,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring that data is available in the organization. So you're looking at something around the range of 120 to $130,000 per annum. As a
Wow.
cybersecurity professional, you will be looking at something around 105 to $110,000. So the salaries are fantastic. And that
Mm-hmm.
was why when I talked about the three criteria we look at, the third criterion is high and rewarding salaries. So
Mm-hmm.
even though you can learn the skills within the space of 4 to 5 months, they are also skill based, they are in demand, meaning that you can be a customer service professional, learn the skills, work on projects, and get the job. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that the salaries are not great. So the salaries are also pretty
Great.
much fantastic.
And most of these jobs, are they remote positions? So someone could be in Nigeria yet be working for a US company. Is that
Absolutely.
possible?
Absolutely.
Wow. So you
My
could
very
be in
first,
Nigeria and you're
yeah,
earning $70,000 per annum.
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. However, things have changed a little bit. And
Okay.
maybe I'll go into that a little. So back in the days, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you had pretty much fantastic salaries, irrespective of where you are. Okay,
Mm.
you could be in Nigeria earning $70,000 and so on. We have one of our participants, he joined our data science program. He completed the program, worked on projects. He got a job with a company called Chow 420 in the US as a data scientist. He lives in Abuja and he works for that company in the US. And his
Wow.
salary is absolutely phenomenal.
I know that Analytics provides trainings
Yes.
for several positions, for these positions you just talked about. But do you provide jobs as well, or do you help your students to get jobs? How does that work? How do you transition them from now you're done with the training? What happens?
Yeah. So, and this is the mistake. Thanks for that question, Adenike, because this is very important. The mistake a lot of people make is, and I've gotten to mentor so many people, I've
Mm,
interacted with so many people. They've joined the training, but they don't know what to do afterwards. Where
mm,
do they apply? How do they apply? How do they tailor their CV to job requirements? They have no clue. How do they optimize their LinkedIn profile to attract recruiters? They have no clue. Now, we realized very quickly when we started operations that getting the job is far beyond your technical skills. You
mm,
can be the best in Python, you can be the best in building Power BI dashboards, but that doesn't necessarily mean you would get the job. So
mm.
we approach the job from two major fronts. The first is the technical skills, and the
Okay.
second is the employability skills. So
Oh,
while you are learning the technical skills, We work with you on your CV. We show you how to tailor your CV to job requirements, having a CV that is keyword optimized to go past the ATS system. Because your CV is your representation in paper format. So you want to have a CV that represents you properly.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the LinkedIn optimization. How do you get companies to reach out to you and invite you for interviews, even though you have not applied to that particular job? So we work with you to optimize your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, we work with you to build one.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the two tools that put you in front of a potential employer, your CV and your LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have an interview.
Interview.
When the interview comes, what happens? So you have interview preparation sessions. So
Mm-hmm.
Adenike, let's imagine you joined the data analytics program or data science. You've applied to jobs, you have an interview. We we schedule an interview preparation session with you. We prepare you for that interview. We look at the requirements, and working with somebody who has been in the ecosystem for a decade, it's easy for us to identify the type of questions you are likely going to be asked. So we ask you those questions beforehand. You
Mm-hmm.
prepare for them, and you are well aware of what to say when you get into that room. So we dramatically increase your the possibility of you landing that job by
Mm-hmm.
simply having those interview prep sessions. We
Mm-hmm.
also have our mentorship sessions every week. The mentorship session is a hand-holding session
Mm-hmm.
where Adenike can join the mentorship session. You have industry experts, you have myself, the co-founder, other industry experts, and you can ask questions around the trends in the industry, what you're doing wrong, what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing right. And that's simply learning from people that have gone ahead of you so you don't make similar mistakes. Now, when you couple all of these together, from the CV to the LinkedIn, to the interview prep, to the mentorship sessions, and so on and so forth, that's what lands you the job. We have
Wow.
somebody like Toyin. Toyin was a pharmacist in Nigeria. She's now a benefits analyst after completing the data analytics program. You have
Wow.
Ngozi. Ngozi moved from Nigeria. Ngozi moved to the UK for her master's, and she needed to get a job. She didn't want to do customer service anymore. She joined our business analysis program, and Ngozi today is a business analyst working remotely, fully
Wow.
remote from Huddersfield in the UK, and so many other stories like that. And
Wow.
like I mentioned earlier, it goes beyond just the technical.
Mm.
It's more of the employability skills, what puts you in front of the recruiter, the potential employer, and you being able to sell yourself and
Mm-hmm.
convince that employer that you're the
Mm-hmm.
right person for the job. And that's where we do the greatest work and our best work to help our students and participants to land the jobs.
So for people who already know, and this is the last question I have, people who already know the path they want to go on, or even if they don't know yet, what are the next steps after the community session where you do the breakdown? What are the
Yeah.
next steps for people to take
Yeah.
to become a part of Analytics?
Yeah. So once you've made a selection, you know where you want to go, you know the career path you're interested in. The next step is to register for the program. Okay. So once you join the masterclass, in that masterclass or free session, you know that I'm interested in business analysis. You register on our website, you pay for the program you're interested in, and that's how you get started. Now, for those who want to have further engagement with us, oh, I'm not sure if I should go for the business analyst career path or the data analyst, we then have something we call the clarity session. So it's a closed group of about 5 to 7 people in one single session, and we take your questions and we help you answer the right career path to choose. Once you've made a choice,
Mm-hmm.
you can then register to be a part of the program by making payments to register for any of the programs, which can be done on the website, at the Analytics website. And you get onboarded into the LMS, the
Mm-hmm.
learning management system, where you have your live classes and you also have your self-paced classes. So it's a blended learning approach. And that's the best way to learn to get the skills you need to thrive in that career path.
I know I said that was my last question, but something just popped in my head now. For people who
That's
have
okay.
full-time jobs already, or people who are
Yes.
full-time students right now, How
Yep.
is the structure of your trainings and the classes? Is it something
Yep.
that someone that's already busy, a mom of 5 kids, is this something they can easily fit into their lifestyle or their schedule, or is it like a strict schedule for the trainings?
It's very flexible, and that's because 90% of our students are either 9 to 5ers, they have full-time jobs, or they are
Mm,
masters, they are PhD students, which means they go to school during the week, during the day. So the classes hold every weekend on Saturdays.
mhm,
Saturdays you have your live class. Your
mhm,
live class is where you have somebody like an Adeza walking you through projects. We are solving problems together. You
mhm,
can write a particular query using SQL. You make a mistake, you can ask me questions, you can share your screen, and we have that live interaction in class.
mhm,
Now, after Saturday, you have your self-paced videos in the learning management system. So that's where you can watch your videos at any time, any day during the week, just to catch up and practice on your own.
mhm,
So that's why I mentioned that it's a blended learning approach. All
mhm,
right. So typically, because our students also come from across the globe, we have classes that are tailored to those in the European region, the
mhm.
UK, similar time zones, and we
Okay.
have classes for those in the US,
Mhm,
North America, Canada as well, with similar time zones. So on
okay.
Saturdays, you have 2 classes running per program. So if you're
Wow.
in the UK, Europe, there's a class that meets your time zone. If you're in the US, Canada, there's a class for your time zone. So that's the way the sessions run typically. Now, if you miss a class on Saturday, during the week, every Wednesdays in the evenings, from around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., we have the drop-in session. The
Okay.
drop-in session is like your makeup class. So if you
Mhm,
miss that class on Saturday and you want to work with your trainer, you want to work with your facilitator to bring you up to speed,
mhm,
you can join that class on Wednesday called the drop-in session. So you
mhm.
get to ask questions, you are brought up to speed. So you don't go into the following class the following Saturday with the same problems you had from the
Yeah.
previous class, especially if you missed the previous class. So that's the way the sessions run, and the classes also is scheduled.
Wow. It's incredible because you have set up a system that is designed for your students to succeed. Basically, their
Absolutely.
success is at the forefront of your plan, which is not something that you see very often with
Yeah.
businesses these days. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
A
And thank
pleasure.
you so much for answering my questions very diligently as well. I think this is a great time for us to even have this conversation because we're slowly starting to get into 2025. People are
Yep.
planning their plans for the new year, what they might intend to do. I think this is a great time for anyone that is interested or that has, at one point or another, considered a career in tech to, at the very least, attend the weekly community session that you talked about where a breakdown of
Yep.
the several careers take place, and and then you can try to go from there. So like I said, I'll put the information in the description box in the comment section. And thank you so much, Mr. Adeza Suleiman, for your time, for having this conversation with me. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Adenike. Thanks for
Thank you.
inviting me. It's a
Thank
pleasure sharing
you.
my experience with you today.
Okay, I hope that was value for your time. It certainly was for me. You hear tech, tech, tech so much that you start to think, oh, is it science? Is it, tentacles starts to, you start to say, oh, I don't want science. I don't, especially for people that don't have interest in math and all of that. But learning that these careers are skill based, meaning you don't need to have any sort of paperwork or any sort of educational background in this career. So what you need are the skills to get the job done. Then the battle is half won already, in my opinion. So shout out to Mr. Suleiman again. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. As I've said numerous times, I'll put the link description, phone numbers, whatever you need in the description box and in the comment section as well. Take advantage of this opportunity. It doesn't come around very often. I hope this was value for your time once again. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. I pray God blesses you, your homes, your marriages, your relationships. Most importantly, I pray God blesses you. Remain in God and God bless you. Bye.